resounding turnaround. How Trump's budget triumph featured a key shift in the Freedom Caucus. In a surprising turn of events, the House Freedom Caucus, previously seen as staunch budget hawks, ultimately chose to support President Trump's ambitious legislative plan known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The rebellion among the fiscal conservatives within the group began to dissolve as crucial support for the bill grew, culminating in its passage through the House on Thursday. For President Donald Trump, this marked a significant win, even as almost every Republican faction in Congress faced some form of setback, except possibly for the party leadership. What ignited this reshuffle? The Freedom Caucus had been the last to embrace the outcome, following a distributed memo that criticized the Senate-backed version of the bill. They viewed identically as a departure from the agreement struck by Speaker Mike Johnson. In a moment of compromise, Representative Ralph Norman presented GOP leaders with a trio of requests to gain his support, none of which were met, as the bill, unchanged by amendments, moved from the Senate to the president's desk, risking key deadlines. But here's where it gets controversial. Representative Chip Roy openly stated he couldn't support the bill solely because of a July 4th deadline. Yet he did end up voting yes. In a follow-up tweet, he mentioned that the White House had promised to combat Medicaid fraud, easing his concerns. As the debate raged on, Rep. Derek Van Orden defiantly dismissed any suggestion they were merely following Trump's directives. He emphasized the independence of the group, responding sternly to accusations of a lack of autonomy. And this is the part most people miss. Even Senator Lisa Murkowski, who had reservations about the legislation's impact on SNAP and Medicaid recipients, ultimately voted in favor of the bill. Although she had hoped for amendments, her decision strengthened the existing bill while securing additional funds for rural hospitals and specific provisions for Alaska. In summary, as much as the Freedom Caucus claimed they stood by their principles, many recognized that they had yielded to pressures, and it was this compromise that sealed the bill's approval. The real victors? Speaker Mike Johnson, whose leadership now seems strengthened, and President Trump, who is positioned to receive more funding for his policies than ever before. What do you think? Did the Freedom Caucus truly uphold their values, or were they compelled into compromise? Let's discuss in the comments below.